So you may have heard about this little thing that civil rights organizations keep complaining about right about now. I mean, you know how civil rights organizations can be, blah, 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 this is a democracy, blah, 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 people should be treated equally and fairly. It's called voter suppression. Just in case you haven't heard, a bunch of states across the country have started implementing these new rules and laws that require a certain type of ID to vote, They are changing the time your polling stations are open and even the days that they have been open before. And it just so happens that this disproportionately affects black people and young people. Why would states be actively trying to make it harder for young people and black people to vote? That's just weird, especially right before a presidential election. And now the arguments being made against this is that this is just all crazy. No one wants to stop people from voting. They want to stop voter fraud, okay? Voter fraud is bad. I mean, that's reasonable. Who wants voter fraud? Especially if it's happening so much that we have to change these laws. I mean, it might be reasonable. I wonder how much voter fraud there is right now. Less than 0.01%. Oh, that's not really a problem that you fix by making a bunch of people not be able to vote. I mean, that seems weird, right? One of the arguments I read about this is that the Democrats are really fighting against all these voter ID laws because they think black people are stupid. They think black people aren't smart enough to get ID. It's not that Democrats are treating people like they're stupid. They're treating people like they have circumstances. Sometimes your circumstances aren't really favorable for you to have a state-issued ID. I mean, real talk, a few years ago, I didn't have state-issued ID. I actually couldn't afford it. I live in New York City, and to get your ID, you have to pay New York City to get an ID, and then to even start that process, you also have to have a birth certificate that you have to pay for, and I just couldn't afford it. I wasn't stupid. I just was poor at the time. And perhaps poor people shouldn't vote? Hey Elon, this is nonsense, okay? You have to have ID to get alcohol. You have to have ID to get on a plane, okay? This is no different, alright? This is no different. First of all, this is actually totally different from that, because let's be honest here, if you want to get alcohol, you don't really need ID for alcohol, okay? You can get yourself some alcohol. You don't believe me? Ask suburban white kids. Drinking alcohol and flying on planes isn't one of those things that we like to consider rights, Those are like privileges, luxury, to be able to fly on a plane, But to actually have representation in your government is not one of those things. You should be able to have that whether or not you can afford it or not. In Ohio, where they changed the way the voting process works since 2008 to now, a GOP election official actually said that he didn't think that we should be contorting the law for the urban read black votes. Hey, GOP election official guy. One, you didn't have to explain what you meant by urban. We've known what urban means for quite some time, okay? It's one of those things that we just have to be aware of. And two, if you've changed the way people can vote from 2008 until now, isn't it you that are actually contorting the voting law to actually stop black people from voting? I mean, you literally said black people. You said it. You said it. Listen, the war out here is real, okay? Conservatives aren't pulling any punches when it comes to this election. They're actively trying to make sure that they can ensure that President Barack Obama loses, okay? That's not even about a black or white thing. That's just about a democracy thing. And as much as the civil rights organizations are fighting in the court system to make sure that this type of thing can be stopped, we can't wait for them to win. In Pennsylvania, it's already been upheld, the voter ID laws. So right now, the only thing we can do is actively educate folks. Real talk, find out what your state requires to vote, and then share it with your friends, tweet it out, tell people, I don't know, make a video. My name is Elon James White, and you are watching This Week in Blackness.